Ladies, if you want to get involved in this conversation, especially this last one, Shoot the Breeze topic number 5 asks, does he have a point? Ladies, click the link pinned to the top of the chat. Get in the StreamYard access point to go ahead and get involved in this conversation. It might be the last one. We have time. If we have time, we'll get into a 6th one as well. But this is brought to us by a video from Twitter X. Let's take a listen.
With just 2. Imagine we live in a universe where you born with just 200 nuts to bust. Think about it. Think about it. You've been walking around infinite your whole life. You ain't never had to count them. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never had to worry about running out. Yeah. You need to have a lot more sympathy for women, right? Because they born with all the eggs they gonna ever have, right? And by the time they hit puberty, their body is destroying them shits. Every single month. Oh, nobody came in, you suffer, bitch. Suffer. You know? So every time you want to be like, man, this bitch crazy. No, she's disappearing from the inside. That's stressful. Like, you're never gonna have a homie venting to you, like going through a divorce or something. He's like, you know what? Fuck Elizabeth. I wasted 75 nuts on that bitch. I gave her my best nuts. She just walked away, Or imagine you at work, like, hey man, what's going on with Doug, man? He's usually so upbeat. Like, what's going on with you? Like, hey, between us, man, quiet as kept. He on his final 5, man. Yeah. He started menopause last week, and he kept saying he was hot. We got it on 65, and
all right. Once again, if you're just joining in, I am Jacadero, proudly filling in for Brother Koku. Here on Shoot the Breeze, episode 247 on the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Hit the like button if you haven't already. That was a stand-up comedian. I don't know his name. Otherwise, I would give him a shout out. Hopefully, his vulgar language did not turn any of you off. But it's Shoot the Breeze topic number 5 asks, does he have a point? The comedian was asking if the amount of ejaculation was limited to a man's life. Would we think different about the way that we act? We'll start off with the educator, Black Steel. I always want to hear from you first, man, when it comes to these type of educational conversations. Does he have a point, or is this just nonsense?
I think it's an interesting perspective. I don't hate it. I think it's interesting. I don't know. That seems interesting to me, that thought process. Like, if you had a limit, you would be more selective. And I agree with him. I'm not going to waste. I'm not going to waste anything. And I guess that's the way the world works and how nature has built the men. So, but I think that's a pretty funny thing. I think we may want to. It would probably make us a little bit more selective. Yes, I agree. But the thing is, women can still enjoy, intercourse. They just can't. Maybe they can't always get pregnant. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. They can still enjoy it. They just can't, maybe they say they're wasting their eggs or whatever. Okay. I hear what he said. I think that's an interesting perspective, though. Very interesting perspective. I thought that was a good joke. But again, I don't know if I would feel the same way if I was in a woman's position. But yeah, you have to watch what you do and who you do it with, because you don't want to, And also, too, I think also to his question about the limited window of fertility and things like that, it's just interesting. But no, very good joke. Very good joke. I like that. I'll leave it there. Thanks.
All right, in the chat, appreciate it, Black Steel. In the chat, let's see here. Lord of Slaughter says, in reference to the previous conversation, the battle or the competition of the cradle of Black civilization in the United States. Is it Louisiana? Is it Memphis? Is it excuse me, not Memphis, Mississippi? Lord of Slaughter says, wait a minute now. We got Oyotunji Village here in North Carolina. I thought it was in South Carolina, but Lord of Slaughter, maybe you know more than I do. Lord of Slaughter also adds the African women are the bloodline and the doorways from the ether of our ancestors. And then Culture Education says, Lord, it's Oyotunji in South Carolina. See, I thought it was South Carolina. Maybe we're lost, huh? Trigger Happy says, it's just a clear perspective of nature. Men have a strong drive to reproduce consistently. Women have to be selective because they are receptive. And then Lord of Slaughter says, Carolina was originally one state. I see you, Lord of Slaughter, moving the goalpost. I like that. Anthony, what say you from what you heard from the stand-up? Does he have a point, or is this just pure nonsense?
Okay, well, to me it was this bullshit. I mean, well, he pretty much lost me with all of the, with the B word shit. Calling women bitches. I got a thing about that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's comedy. You got a little joke in, whatever. I don't, and I guess some people could see a logic and whatever. I don't know. I really couldn't take it seriously though, man. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I think that last comment that you said about the woman being selected, I thought that was something more important, important to me than what he was saying, though. So no, I don't know. I really didn't it didn't really resonate with me, really, man, because he lost me, if it was a more deeper conversation or something, like you hear some comedians do, but he was all with the bitch, this and all that. And so that kind of turned me off anyway, though. So I really didn't pay attention to it.
I appreciate it, Anthony. Brother Bakari, maybe you did get LOL in the
I
chat.
can say this.
What say you?
If you was born with just 300 nuts, there wouldn't be no jacking off when you're a teenager. Motherfuckers be like, I got to say this. I want me some baby. I got to say this for my wife. But other than that, I just saw it as I saw it as comedy. I saw it as comedy. He cracked a couple of good jokes. So yeah, is it like I said? It is like Black Steel said, is an interesting perspective. But I also say all that love. I'm telling you, people stop playing with themselves when they live. But that's all I got to say about it.
All right, a little quick one. I figured that that this one would be quick. Let's see here. Lord of Slaughter in the chat says, men should be selective as the woman will be your child's guardian if something happened to you. And then Koku 911 says 100. Hopefully, if you guys got anything, not necessarily the panel, but any of you watching, especially you young men, I was fortunate enough in my 20s that I didn't have any children. Here in my 30s, I don't have any children either. But, one of the things that I was taught when I was younger is, be careful who you lay with, because that could ultimately either make or break the happiness in your life. As men, we're taught, to be strong, and that's fine. I actually agree with that, but it doesn't necessarily mean we need to be miserable. And, the friends of mine or the acquaintances that I have, some of them are miserable because of the mother of their children, whether or not they're having baby mama drama issues or they can't get to do what they want to do on a given day because they're stuck with the child. And so maybe if you got anything from that stand-up is that, you don't necessarily have only 200 ejaculations in your life, but that one ejaculation can alter and determine on how you live the rest of your life. As men, we're supposed to be risk takers. Can you take a risk now, that you're a father? So any last remarks, Black Steel, Brother Bakari, Anthony?
Yeah, Jack and Darrow. It was just interesting something that you were saying about like you saw about some of your homeboys or some of your friends.
Yeah.
Okay, you said check it out. You said that like some were like say, well, stuck, were miserable because like being stuck with the child. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Is that a thing? I'm stuck with a child. You know what I mean? This is a child that you brought into the world. That's and I'm stuck with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I love all my children. I'm glad they're here.
It
It
may not
wasn't a
be so
burden.
much
It wasn't.
stuck with the child, Anthony, but it may be maybe
Uh,
always just to get along with that child's mother, right?
okay, I get that part, but like I'm saying at the beginning, okay, this goes back, okay, to something you said there. Okay, you need to check who you get with first. Okay, you need to know who you get. Know the lady you get with, and vice versa. For the woman, you need to know the man you get with. But like I'm saying, shouldn't you have thought of this? You thought of this before you lay down with this woman. You know what I'm saying? Before y'all had a child together. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let me think of this here. Am I ready to settle down? Am I ready to, to be a father, be a responsible father and all this here? Or do I still want to sow my wild oats? You got to think about all of that. To me, like that's on you. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. But when you said like the way you said about like being stuck with a child, man, the child didn't ask to be here. You know what I'm saying? That's your fault. You know what I'm saying? You should have put a condom on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you should have made better choices. So I mean, that part right there. I'm like, that's the kind of thing I can't understand. 'Cause like I know some of us on this panel, we fathers, we got children. You know what I'm saying? And I know quite sure, I'm quite sure that all of us love our children, and especially with us brothers having black conscious minds and everything. That's a joy to us. We ain't gonna never think like, oh man, I'm stuck with the child. Okay, you have a problem with your baby mama. Which okay, that's not something that can't be worked out. You know what I'm saying? Because see, I'm imagining in my mind that if you're a black conscious brother, you pretty much gonna deal with a black conscious sister. Somewhere a sister somewhere adjacent to that. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean that's what I do. I always think about the woman I'm gonna deal with. And she got to have build on the same kind of political mind, mind that I have. I just choose somebody. I go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna choose a woman who has a like mind. Okay. We got some of the common interests. No, we for black people. We got the one that she got to love black people. So I'm gonna have somebody. I'm gonna be with somebody who has that same kind of mind. What I'm saying, if you're getting with people who don't have the same kind of interests as you, what I mean, what do you expect? You're gonna have trouble like that. You're gonna run into stuff like that. And then I understand, you're gonna run into sometimes we run into man and woman trouble sometimes. We have different ways of doing things or whatever. But I'm just saying, that part right there though, that kind of like kind of got on my skin a little bit. Not you, Jack and Daryl, but saying what the brother said, about I'm stuck with the child. You got to think about that before you make, because the child ain't responsible for that. That's not the child's fault. No, that's all I want to say, bro.
Yeah, no worries. The brother that I'm talking about, he traditionally married the mother of his children, and so things didn't. How can I explain this? At some point, things were not well. They're not together anymore, but at some point, things were so not good that I think I could be wrong, but I think they were now sleeping in separate bedrooms. But we had planned a trip. It was a guy's trip, and it was agreed, I guess, that she was going to watch their two sons. And so the day of the trip, he gives us a call and says, guys, I can't go because she stopped answering the phone, and they still live in the same house. So, it's stuff like that that believe it or not, Anthony, my generation is having issues about. Because he married a girl from not just black, he married a girl from his tribe. He's a South Sudanese brother, and he thought the world of her. and then in the end it didn't work out the way that he envisioned. But you guys are older than me, so maybe, just maybe, if he's listening, maybe you guys can give him some game, because I think it's been over 2 years that they haven't been together, and I think it almost went to custody court. While you guys think about that, let's read the chat here. In the chat, Lord of Slaughter says, like, a woman can end your family's bloodline by raising a gangster hooligan. Because if they don't reproduce or choose someone who's as bad as their mother, your bloodline of 300,000 years could end. Sheesh. Cheryl, what's going on? Cheryl in the chat. Welcome, Cheryl. She says 90% of relationships are ideological, whether people want to acknowledge this or not. I guess I would like some elaboration on that. What do you mean by ideological? Like the idea of a relationship? And then Trigger Happy in the chat says it's too important. When how that child grows up largely depends on the temperament of the person. Hell, even the temperament of the family surrounding that person is important. This used to happen in pre-colonial Africa. I don't know if it still happens now, but at least in my tribe, if my sister was being asked for the hand in marriage, me and the rest of my brothers, we would go and live with that guy's family for like a month, just to see how they interact with each other, how they treat other people. Because if they were a quote unquote, what's the word? If they didn't come from a good family, then we could just end it right then and there and say, hey, we'll be damned if we allow our sister. I don't know if that's practiced so much. I doubt that nowadays, just because, if it's not people getting married because of financial reasons, it's love. It's that Roman love that we talk about. But to hear speak more about love, it sounds like we got Amma pulling up to the chat. What's up, Amma? Welcome to the Bitter Medicine panel here on episode 247. How are you? Hope everything is well. And yeah, let's go ahead and hear your thoughts about this current conversation. I think you're muted on your end, Amma. I think you're muted on your end. I don't. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. It must have been my Bluetooth. Um, okay. So yeah, I don't know what the original question was, but just speaking on what I just wrote in the chat, what I mean by ideological, um, so for instance, um, if one parent wants the child to be homeschooled and the other parent doesn't, you're gonna have problems. If one parent is materialistic and the other one is not, like, immediately, like, you're gonna like, I'm just trying to think of like a whole bunch of examples. If you are conscious minded and you make a conscious decision to buy black, and you're not afraid of your own people, and you try to move away from your people, and you try to live in a white neighborhood and leave your own people behind, and this type of thing, and you have one parent that's like that and you have another parent that's like, well, we got to give back to our community. Running away is not going to solve anything. If you have two people that are opposite minded like that, it's not going to work. I don't care how good of a friendship you have. It's never it's never going to work. And I think a lot of the times, like, they run into these type of things. Like, if you're a type of person, so this is a common one. So, like, okay, so like my husband and I, we agree ideologically. Now, do we have arguments? Of course. Like, we argue like cats and dogs, but it's about like little stuff. Like, like around the house. It's like, oh, you clean these dishes? Why ain't you clean these dishes? Blah 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 blah. Like, typical married people stuff. But at the end of the day, we can come to an understanding of how we want to raise our children and what our end goal is, what we're trying to do, just not with not just with our children, but just in life in general. We have a total understanding when it comes to that, and I think a lot of people don't think that's important, and a lot of black people don't like politics, And when you're talking about raising children, you can't avoid politics. Like when these like things are happening to black people getting lynched every single day and stuff like this, and you're just like, oh well, I'm gonna still have my I'm gonna still have my YT friends. I don't care what's going on because my YT friends are not like that. And you got the other parent that's just like, nah, we need to stay away from them. Like these are these little conversations that we think are not important, but are very important, and that they're very political. But we like to try to avoid politics because I notice on like dating shows and stuff, when you're talking to people, they like to try to like avoid like talking about those things. You can't avoid it. But I think that's that, and also finances, obviously money. But I would say less money because black people have been like with each other. They were more likely to be with each other. Like if you look in the early 1900s, black people are staying together. Like you looking at like during slavery time, black men and women are staying together. So yes, finances is a problem, but um, it's I don't think it's the end all be all of black people staying together in a relationship. So there's just a lot. There's a whole bunch of dynamics going on. But I think, like I said, ideologically, if you do not agree, if you're not on the same page with that person, it's not going to work. So I'm gonna end it there.
Man, I wish I'm not married, so I don't I can't add too much to that conversation. But yeah. Ugh. All right, let's get to the comments. Uh in the comment, the matron. What's going on? The matron. Welcome to the show. Matron says, love is the least reason to get married. Ideologically, family, compatibility, and economic reasons are better reasons for a marriage than romantic love. But with these days, we can say that, but people are saying, hey, you're cute, I'm cute, we get along, let's go ahead and do this. uh, Trigger Happy says, honestly, the best relationships are the ones in which you talk about everything controversial first and get that out of the way. Is it easy? We can say these things, but is it easy? um I guess let me ask you, Amma, since you you're relevant right now. What was it about your husband and you guys that said yes, we can do this? If it wasn't romantic or Roman love in the sense.
So one of our very first conversations was surrounding the fact that we knew that it was something wrong with America, and we knew we didn't want to stay here for the rest of our lives. Like that was like I can't remember exactly what happened, but we're like, yo, it's something wrong with this place. It's a problem. Like it, we just know we gotta go. We gotta get out of here. And you got all these I don't know. You just got all these white people are just like, well, if you want to go, then you should go. And you know what? I would gladly take them up. We both of us, we're just like, we'll gladly take them up on that offer. Because guess what? We just came back from Jamaica. We were there for almost a month. And the biggest thing I realized about living outside of America is maybe your infrastructure isn't as great. Okay. I'll take that. Take that one on the head, on the nose, but on the chin. But your quality of food and water far superior than the United States, just on that alone. So uh, for us, it's just we don't need to live in luxury. We don't need. I'm not materialistic. I don't need to live, how some people are living. I don't need to be constantly comparing myself to other people, to other black people, and like it's like a rat race in America. And nobody takes the time to slow down. Everybody admires hard work, quote unquote hard work, but they literally work like slaves. For what? And some people may be able to say, I have a nice house in America and I have this and I have this type of car and that. But these people are not as happy as they portray. And so these are the type of conversations that we have. Um and it's just it's so much more. But it's just we seriously, yes, Lord of Slaughter, like we got to get out of here. It's awful for us, mind, body, and spirit, like especially with the food, because food is tied to health and health is tied to healthcare. So like America is a system, the type of system where they will keep you sick with the food just so that they can profit off of you in the hospital. So, like, other countries aren't like that. Like, you get natural, the fruit is fresh, is locally grown. You don't got to worry about pesticides. That alone will make me want to leave America. That alone. I don't care about infrastructure and all that. Infrastructure will come. All right. If that's all we basing uh how the value of a country on, if that we're just basing it on roads. Like people like to say, well, Canada has good roads and good healthcare, but not really. It's not great. It's not great for black people. All the black people that moved and immigrated to Canada, they got all type of health problems that they would never have if they stayed their ass in the Caribbean. And I understand, like, don't get me wrong, I understand why people move abroad and they move overseas because they want to create a better life, yada yada yada. But you got to go back. And what's good though is like people are moving back and everything like that, but it's not enough. It's not enough people. The brain drain is still very real. You don't have enough people with skills that are moving back. So I think that's something that we could focus on. And I'm just telling you all of this because these are the type of conversations that we have. But I could talk more, but I'm gonna just end it there.
I appreciate it, Emma, and congratulations on your guys' union, man. That's powerful. Believe it or not, you might be inspiring people. Lord of Slaughter says, "Yeah, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here." Trigger Happy says, "If you are a Pan African nationalist and you marry a non-Pan African nationalist, you will face incompatibilities." I'd assume so, but I could be wrong. Again, I'm not a relationship expert. I'm not even married, nonetheless. Trigger Happy says, "Health is important too. Dating people who say let's have chronic diseases in their family would be the standard for many who are serious. For a man who are serious, I'm not sure." But he adds, the social life of many African countries are far superior to that of the West. Lord Slaughter, Lord of Slaughter adds, she's spitting them facts. Absolutely, man. All right. Well, we have time for one more. We have time for one more. This one doesn't necessarily require a lot of debate. At least I don't think so. But then again, that's why